Hi, it's Dr. Ev, and these are some fascial activation exercises. For any of these exercises, we want to start with a nice neutral posture. So we're thinking about being really tall and decompressed through our spine, breathing laterally through our rib cage, and just creating a nice internalized stretch through the system. So thinking about getting tall and stretched up and down and having space side to side. This shouldn't make you rigid, so you should be able to still move your arms and flow your arms very gracefully while still maintaining that little sense of internal stretch in your system. So this is how you should begin each exercise. We're going to get into fascia hopping. So we're going to keep our ankles at this sort of 90-degree angle while we're still having that internal stretch and flow. And we're simply going to start bouncing from the knees and creating a little bit of bounce through the body. You can hold your arms out, or you can kind of let them start to bounce and relax. And once this feels safe, you can make this movement a little bit more intense by actually lifting off the ground. But the key is that my ankles are staying pretty much fixed at the same angle. This next exercise is about finding flow in our lateral plane, so side to side. And I want you to think about maintaining that tall posture, that stretch through the system, that breath with the diaphragm, but then articulating each vertebrae on top of itself. So you're like a little piece of seaweed floating in the ocean. And this movement can start out very small. As you get more comfortable, you can add the limbs in, you can make it a little bit bigger, and you can start to make it flow from the base of your spine all the way to the top of your head. The same principles apply, but this time you're in a forward to back motion where you're thinking about articulating every vertebrae of your spine as you come up and down and trying to make this motion as fluid as possible. Start slow, start small. This is the full range of motion here. But as it feels more familiar and safe to do, you can progress this. Another version is starting from the floor and getting this kind of cat-cow, but very flowy, sort of oceanic forward flow with the articulations of the spine moving through that loaded and then unloaded fascial movement. This next movement is for specifically our psoas or hip flexors. And the main thing about this movement is that it originates in the hip socket itself. We're not just wiggling the feet back and forth. I want you to think about this coming from the hip in and out. And it's almost like a swing where we push the hip in a little bit and it just comes back naturally. And we want it to find that sort of natural rhythm and wiggle of this. Speaking of wiggle, we can work some of the fascia of our legs, arms, anywhere on our body really, by just making sure the skin is moving along the outer muscle. So again, this can just be like getting some rhythm, getting some rebound, thinking about pushing the skin or the muscle on a swing and seeing it swing back to you. It's almost just like a gentle rub. If you find a knot, you can kind of concentrate there, but this should feel really safe. This exercise is for helping to create length throughout the fascia, throughout the hip. So the main thing is you want to keep your pelvis level. You don't want to let your hip drop. And you put a block, or you can use a stair. Make sure that you have something to hold on to, whether it be, the railing of the stairs. And you just want to feel really stable. And then let one leg hang off the block. And while that leg is hanging off the block, you're going to add that gentle sort of undulating motion like a swing. You push, you let it return. You push, you let it return. The whole time you're maintaining that tall, elongated posture. And then do both sides. Next, we're going to use a tool called a body blade. You can find these online. They are really helpful in strengthening, utilizing the fascia, because the fascia is all about responding to that rebound. So here you're doing your long, elongated, stable posture with flow, and you're just having to respond to the momentum that the blade is producing. You can do this in all different positions. As you can see, I'm having a little trouble creating rhythm on my right side in this position. My fascia could use some support, but the goal is to get into a nice rhythm where the body blade is creating a self-rebounding pattern. I'm going through various poses to see if I can find one where I have a little bit more rhythm, and also showing you variations of what you can use this body blade for. But what you would do is you just shake this for maybe 30 seconds or try to count to 10, where you get 10 good reps where it undulates. Again, I'm having trouble. And there is an example of when it's getting the example going. But you might need to work and bend your, arm a little bit more, or there we go, I get it going now. So you can see that now my body's just trying to respond to the rhythm of the blade, and that's my fascia kind of loading up and then discharging. Next is a functional lunge. So alignment is really important in the start of this position. We want our front heel aligned with our back knee. And we want to be able to sit back on our left foot with a straight up posture, again with that space, that elongation through our back. We don't want to lose that. We're going to turn towards the forward leg and then spring up and step forward with the back leg. Again, coming down and spring up. See how my thoracic spine, my upper back, is rotating across my body? So I'm getting a really big whole fascial movement by crossing and then crossing the other way through this motion. So we'll show it on the other side. Now we have the opposite leg forward and the other leg back. Again, I'm sitting back, I'm super comfortable, I can wiggle, but I'm still upright, turning towards the forward leg, and then I'm, shifted towards it a little bit, and then powering through that motion. With the punch, you're even just accentuating that elongation even further and going through the motion. So this is strengthening the entire fascia, because fascia gets activated when we load it up and then explode. Our final exercise is pitcher. So one side is probably going to feel a lot easier because we do have a dominant throwing side. But basically you line up like you're gonna throw a pitch. You can lift that knee, and it's all about kind of tensing and then following through that motion with as much movement and accentuation as possible. So I am stepping forward, shifting my weight, bringing my arms all the way around and trying to create length in my sides while I'm still maintaining that very upright posture. Have fun with these, and I hope they help.